Fuck you, JHF 9569. Honking. Sorry, I shouldn't have started this video off on a bad note like that. But nothing is more obnoxious than drivers honking. First of all, it's drivers honking, period. But then drivers honking so that they can get to other places, like where they then stop. So this idiot just honked at me, but I'm about to pass him. Thank you, neighbor. And I'm just gonna say, screw you guys, I'm taking the lane here. Unless you want to give me a bike lane, then cool. I am going through red lights, but whatever. This guy's turning? Oh, this person's turning here. So here I'm coming up to the left side because the DOT in their brilliance did not create any safe way for cyclists to make a left turn. Hey look, two cars blocking the bike lane on 110. Oh, cleaning crew. Wow, this is nice and shiny. Wow, people are awful. Everybody's honking. I'm just gonna go on ahead here. Wow, what a dysfunctional street. Like, for these kinds of things, the easiest way to do it would be just to like temporarily shut down the street. Be like, all right, 110 or Columbus and 110, shut down. Like, stand there, don't let anybody get on the street, and then you'll be good to go. You know? And then there's no honking or anything. Then it's just sort of simple traffic design. You're just like, well, like you wouldn't have people just like honking at each other. People don't honk when they can't get on a street. It doesn't make any sense. They're just confused and annoyed maybe temporarily, but there's nobody to honk at. So once again, here's how the DOT created a terrible lane. I want to make a right turn. Where am I supposed to stand? I have no place to stand. I want to make a left turn. I'm not going to go through 3 lanes of Columbus Avenue traffic here. Instead I have to wait for the red light and then technically go through a red light because I'm making a right turn and then go on the walk signal and all of that. But even worse is I happen to be the only person biking, but like, if there's just a handful of people biking, you have no place to stay to like wait to make your turn without blocking the entire bike lane. There's actually no safe place to stand. You're basically either in traffic or on a sidewalk. You know, there's no safe place. So that's DOT brilliance in terrible bike lane design. So that's what I got. Starting off strong today. It's almost 60 degrees, so I'm already sweating. Hey. And I'm not exactly complaining. It says really nice bike weather. It is the end of October. Halloween is coming up this weekend. There's a truck taking a right turn at speed. New York Brat Factory. Huh. Mama's Pizza. So this is an F picking up a passenger completely in the bike lane, so that he actually has to extend the door entirely in the bike lane. There's another driver in the bike lane, nobody in the driver's seat. Loading, unloading. They're using the bike lane as a loading zone. Okay, we are recording. Oh, yeah, I have the right of way here. I have the right of way, not the woman walking the dog, but we really should have slow streets that we can all navigate easily, which we do in the absence of cars. Here, yet another example where you're like, am I allowed to go with this walk signal? I guess I have to, because that's the only way to bike through this mess. Hey, look, there's nobody on this car street. There's 4 lanes, but nobody uses it apparently. Look at this, nobody's using it. That's the argument against bike lanes, because when you look at a bike lane every now and then, there's nobody on it. Most of the time, there's technically nobody on it. And so you look at this and you're like, nobody's using this. Why does it have 4 lanes? Why can't we just get rid of it? There's nobody using it. There's just a handful of people. That's it. And like, who are they anyway? They don't even need to be here. Why can't they just drive on Broadway? I don't understand why they need to be on Riverside. Like, can't they just go, you know, a couple blocks out of their way and use a perfectly good road to the east? That's the argument for why you can't have a bike lane anywhere.
20% chance.
So my city bike front wheel is like kind of flat. I mean, it's not flat, but it ain't great. I don't know if they have plans to how they do maintenance, but yeah, I'm looking at it here. It's definitely squat. It's one of the sort of got a little tire belly sticking out of the side. That's what I call it. Yeah. Oh man, it's pretty bad. Front wheel. I don't know about the back, but I can't see. Let's see what's going on here. Anybody hear anything? Hey. No problem. All good. I do appreciate the leaf blowing, cleaning up some of this stuff. I would love it a little more if some of this was repaved. Not gonna lie, it's kind of like all cracked and funky, and I'm sure like this whole area could be nicely redone, not so bouncy and stuff. But I guess we'll take the leaves. Bees. All right. What do we want to talk about? So I read that CB9 is considering looking into city bike locations. I love it when the community provides input on where to put city bike docks. Like, I don't understand why they don't just come in and say this is where we're putting it. These, based on data, are the most effective places to put them based on density and whatever. But instead they have to do this like song and dance with the community input. I've been to one of these meetings. I've been to a few of these kind of meetings. They're really dumb. I mean, I don't like using that word, but they're just sort of silly. Because you have people, so some people are like cyclists, people who would, you know, use the infrastructure and use the, you know, use city bike or whatever, and they know a thing or two. But like most of the time, the most, you know, interested people are probably not available to come to your 6 p.m. 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. meeting during the week or whatever, because they're not like, they have like actual things to do. Not that they're not interested, but they actually have work or family or whatever, which is why this whole community board, community meetings and stuff are so poorly done. They're optimized for the least kind of effective way of community engagement. I remember reading about like a politician or something who, in order to like have more engagement, he like had meetings on, or maybe he had one meeting, I don't know, on like a public bus, like on a bus to work. This was not in New York. This was somewhere where like the most marginalized people obviously are the least likely to be driving and more likely to be taking buses, but you know, they're not going to have time to just show up to your meeting, you know, wherever in the middle of wherever. And so he met them where they are, you know, he met bus riders where they are, like on the bus. If you want to meet cyclists and get community input, like go have people stand, you know, and connect with actual cyclists who are actually riding and people who are walking by and would like to ride but can't because there's no docks, right? And then engage that way. Maybe they are doing that. I think they do that, but they're doing it very, you know, there's only a handful of like times that you can do that. Anyway, and the transportation chair, this nincompoop has been around for God knows how long, you know, a billion years. She's like, you can't take any parking. It's our parking spaces, ours. Apparently, the memo was that Community Board 9 owns all the public space in front of all the curbs in their entire neighborhood. an entire area or district. That was the memo. I guess they bought them on eBay or on Amazon or something, and they own it. They own their parking spots. Even though they don't pay a nickel for any of it, they are going to block and obstruct Citibike from putting their goddamn bike docks on our useful car storage facilities that are subsidized by taxpayer money, that have massive opportunity costs, because they could be literally used for literally anything else. And you throw a dart at anything and it's 100 times more useful than car parking or car storage. But that's where they're going to dig in their heels, because it's their parking. And that's why in CB9 you're going to see Citibike docks will get there, but much like Harlem, they're going to be placed again obstructing the sidewalk. And once again, pedestrian space is even more limited, encroached upon, because these car owners want their free, quote unquote free parking, you know, their parking spaces. God forbid you take 2 or 3 parking spaces, or space that could store 2 or 3 vehicles that are unused 95% of the time, that are basically long-term storage, and put, you know, bikes that people actually use that have massive turnover and highly efficient. And instead of having 1 space or 2 spaces, you have 25 spaces for bikes. God, this is 2019. The best science says that we have 10 years, less than 10 years, far less than 10 years now, to make major changes in restructuring society, so that we're far less reliant on carbon, or emitting carbon dioxide, that is. And we're gonna hold on. And in 2019, these people who, you know, I don't know, who somehow own our future, are the ones obstructing any progress. Like, wow, this is life. This is life in 2019. Who would have thought, you know? I would have thought that maybe we would, guys blocking the bike lane there. Yeah, I would have thought that maybe we would have solved a lot of problems by this point. But god damn, we suck. Like, we really suck. And New York is supposed to be so progressive, you know, and so liberal, and we can't even get our act together. The state passed a climate change bill that whatever says that, I don't even know what it says. It sounds like mostly nonsense. I don't know. It's a good idea, right? Cuomo and the mayor are like, climate change is very important, so we're going to do everything we can, except for the 30% of carbon that comes from transportation in New York City, from cars. God forbid we invoke anything and take a single parking spot and obstruct anybody's ability to move freely in a 3,000 pound vehicle. That's our, I like that guy. That's our, that's guts, you know? Way to go, New York City. Way to really stand up to the old people in, you know, up in 125th in Amsterdam, who have lived there for 25 years and still want their Cadillacs or whatever. And they're like SUVs and stuff. But at least they have Bernie stickers on there, you know, bumper stickers. At least they've got a Bernie Sanders bumper sticker. they'll go through your red lights, they'll block all bike lane stuff, but you know, but they've got the right bumper sticker. Anyway, so that's fun. Sure hope this wheel doesn't die on me. Nice day. It's gonna rain tonight, this evening, but boy, it's very nice today. It's a little humid. I think that's why I'm a little sweaty, even though it's a little nippy out. So what else we got? So that's Community Board 9. They're a bunch of idiots. I think the whole community board system should be just gutted, or at least as it relates to any transportation related stuff. But I think housing too, like I don't know. These people like don't really have, I think a lot of this stuff is just best in the hands of like data-driven agencies that can operate efficiently and with a network, right? So if they want to say we want to build protected bike lanes or whatever, bike paths, separate, totally separated, you can't even do that. You have to go through these fiefdoms and like beg for approval and then get yelled at and then have community involvement, and then 5 years later they hold everything up. You know, and that's what makes news. What makes news is like the conflict, not the breaking ground and actually doing stuff. It's very little of the actual doing stuff part. Like, hey, there's a new bike lane on Central Park West. Like, that should have been done in the last year. It's only being done now, and I don't know. So there's that. Then there's like all the street redesign, street improvements that really should have no community involvement. There really should be none. I mean, virtually none. It does not matter what some random schmo thinks, or how some business thinks that people come to their restaurant. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. A city is for people, not for cars. And cars kill people. Speed kills people. Speed like causes crashes. All that stuff. We know that. This should be a blanket, full citywide initiative that's undertaken and just executed. You know, you wouldn't put up like a bridge like halfway and then like not have streets on either side, you know, or something like that, because like, oh, one part of the river, like, you know, one neighborhood approved it but the other didn't, so I guess we gotta wait until the other one says yes. This kind of stuff like doesn't really happen, or at least it doesn't look like it happens in Europe, you know. I mean, obviously it probably does, but in different ways. And then you've got like housing, which is another thing, which is tightly correlated to transportation, and affordable housing is also incredibly important. Affordable housing largely can be made affordable if you build without parking spaces, right? If you're near transit stops and high density locations like that, build a lot. We need more supply. That is the thing that overwhelmingly is the thing that drives costs down. So instead you have community boards leaning on conventional wisdom about gentrification and this stuff, when the data actually doesn't show any of that. Data shows if you build more supply, costs go down. If you build more housing, doesn't matter if it looks like a fancy new building, if you build a lot of it, prices will decline. But I've been in a bunch of these meetings and they just started yelling about, like things like, oh, this nice fancy building went up in our neighborhood. Boo. Boo to the nice fancy building. you know? And that's it. But in reality, that's exactly what happened in San Francisco. And take a look at all their affordable housing. They basically built nothing, right? Supply never went up. The supply that did exist just got bid up to extremely high. The market rates for this stuff is what millionaires can afford, or billionaires. And that's it. Because nobody built anything. Because they have the regulations didn't really allow for it. Anyway, so that's fun. You'd think that by 2019 we would have solved a lot of these problems, but maybe 2020. We're at 48th Street here, or 49th Street. I don't know what building is going up here on the left, but it's got a lot of scaffolding in front of it. Turn on 46, Bane, New York's scariest haunted attraction. That sounds like fun. Best car wash in New York City since 1947. That's a long time to be the best car wash in New York City. I don't know. I don't have a car. Certainly when I did have a car, we never got it washed. I think we got it washed once. But I would not know what a best car wash is. The best car wash I can imagine is one that doesn't exist, because there are no cars. That's funny. I'm funny. God, little doggy. Little doggy. Oh wait. That's cool. Love it. Construction worker. Biking to work. 9:43. Oh man. I'm running a little behind here. I'm already a little sweaty, and I do not want to ride really hard here. Bumps. So I'm gonna be in Copenhagen this winter for a week. Very excited. I think we're gonna rent an Urban Arrow electric cargo bike and get around that way. Very excited for that. I think we might be a family that we might get to know who already has an Urban Arrow that we can borrow from them. Wow. This bike definitely feels like I'm going through mud here. This is totally flat, basically. No, it's not totally flat, but it's pretty cruddy. Boy, now I'm starting to feel a little bit of mist out here. So I guess this is what it's like to have a half-flat tire. It doesn't quite pop. I mean, I guess it could at any moment, but it's just like, well, it's clearly on its last leg here, not doing too well. Needs a new inner tube, I don't know, something. Going on here. I've not been very talkative, I guess. Well, I could just not talk. dump truck just straight up went through a red light. This guy's got a van move, I think. See how fast he goes. And the slalom begins. AT264M, New Jersey. Thank you for blocking. Here, these guys blocking the bike lane. Ah, there's police right here. Hanging out. Oh, he's smoking a cigar. That's great. The police are here, but they're smoking cigars in their squad car while 4 or 5 trucks block a protected bike lane that was built because a guy was killed, because Dan Hanningby was killed. Look at this thing. And all these all the cars right here are all placard abuse. And when you do have police, they're just smoking cigars. I don't know if that'll be caught in the video. So that's what you got. That's why you don't even want to include the police. Like, they're the worst. They're the ones who perpetrate this. I mean, this police right here is a Vision Zero. Look at this, a Vision Zero NYPD vehicle right there. Van. Doing what? Here's another squad car. Nobody's in it. They're certainly not doing anything to protect or help cyclists or pedestrians, frankly. So hello, are you just walking? Yes, you will get almost hit in bike lanes if you walk aimlessly in bike lanes. That is true. I mean, that's as you would expect. In streets as well. Nobody says, well, actually people do say all the time they're almost hit by cars. I say that all the time. But you would never like be like, oh yeah, no, people just walk across the street, you know, in the middle of whatever, this like 6-lane cesspool here. And don't expect to get hit. Like, you would look and be like, oh yeah, there are drivers, there's cars, you know. At the very least, you'd look and be like, judge it and see if you could make it across the street or not. Oh, I'm just like, I feel like I'm just one bump away from this front tire just exploding. Like, so I don't really know what. I had one tire pop on me once from a city bike. It was a back wheel, and I heard it just making sort of funky noises. It was just sort of like I think it was sort of like grinding, or you know, it's probably like already somewhat punctured and working through. It was working through some things, working through its feelings, and then yeah, and then it just like tore out in the back. But it was totally like a very safe roll to a halt kind of situation. Bernie. Go Bernie Sanders. Would love it if Bernie also rode an e-bike. That'd be pretty fun, right? Okay. Thank you for making it that much less comfortable, UPS. And the question is, should I mark this thing as bad or not? I don't know. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Until next time.